So before you long rein your horse, there's a number of things he needs to know. One of the first things is make sure he's really comfortable with ropes all around him. You can see here with Joker, I'm just sacking him out with the rope. So first of all, I fold it up quite small and then I start rubbing him all over with it so he's quite used to it. And right now I'm just sort of putting it over his back and pulling it down onto the ground and so forth. And that's going to really help him out when I'm long lining him, because he's going to have ropes passing over his rump and all around, and you know, just in case he does get loose and there's a rope dragging, you want him to be comfortable with them around his legs as well. So make sure you don't neglect his legs, and back legs and front legs. Make sure he's all right with having the ropes around his legs. Now remember to do both sides of the horse. You'll find that your horse is better on one side than he is on the other. Joker here is much better on the left than he is on the right, and that's probably because I'm doing this to the clock at the moment, so I have spent more time on his left, and I must go back and fix that later. Now here I'm just having a bit of a practice with the girthing lesson. Of course Joker has already done this, he's already had a surcingle on, and so this won't be the very first time when I long line him. I don't want it to be the very first time he has a surcingle on. But if you haven't done that, remember you've got to do a saddling lesson, or you don't have to put the saddle on him, but you can just put the surcingle on him. But this is just a little reminder for Joker of having the surcingle around his middle. So what I'm doing is I'm tightening and loosening it there, and I'm just asking him to walk forward gently. A lot of horses don't mind having it around their middle. When you ask them to walk forward, they don't really think they can. So make sure you also get him to move. The next thing your horse will need to know is, of course, moving around you as if you were lunging it. You've already taught your horse to move around you quite a bit when you've been doing the give to the bit work and the shoulder control on the ground, but now you're going to want him to be a little bit further away, and of course moving around nice and calmly in trot like Joker is here. Well, some horses find this quite difficult, and some young horses like Joker, who's only had a couple of hours work, prefer to be quite close to you. Right there. So as soon as he started moving forward, I stopped cueing him with the lead rope that's in my right hand. What you don't want to do is chase your horse with either a whip or the lead rope or whatever you're using to cue him with the other hand. As soon as he's going forward, try and lower that cue and let him relax and move forward. Now I've just asked him to stop. Okay, remember to work both sides of your horse. Joker's bad side is this side. I'm trying to work his right side now, and he finds that much more difficult. And so I'm going to have to spend twice the amount of time on his right side as I did on his left. There, he's going quite nicely. Oh, he's getting a bit worried about it there, and he's turned around and he's travelling left again, so that's all right. Just let him go left. So that's okay, don't worry about it. We'll just go this way for a little while, and then when you get the opportunity, turn him around and have him trot back to the right again. Just keep your hand quite close to his bridle, so you start the circle off small and then let the rope out gently, and his circle can get bigger and bigger. Keep focused on his hindquarters to move him forward. You'd never want to try and pull him forward. It's impossible to do in this situation anyway. Now the other thing he needs to know is he needs to be comfortable with the ropes going behind his hocks. When I first start long lining horses, I always do it so that the rope travels from the bit through the surcingle and behind the horse's hocks. And I do this because it really helps me to keep the horse from turning and facing me. As soon as the horse turns and faces you, you end up tying it in a knot quite quickly if you're not very careful. So it is easier to teach this lesson with the reins running behind the horse, or the offside rein running behind the horse. So first of all, just flop the reins over the horse's rump like I did and let him feel them run down his back legs. That's really good. Now what I've done is I've just put a loop around Joker's rump of the rein. I'm holding the buckle in my hand so that never bangs on his legs or anything. And if he gets frightened, I can just drop everything and it'll fall off him. Or I can hang on to the buckle, for example, and pull the rein off him. Never tie anything to your horse when you're sacking it out. You really want to make sure he's completely comfortable with this before you ever connect a rein to the surcingle or to his bit. And he seems very relaxed with that. I am moving my hand around a bit so he can feel a little bit of pressure behind his legs and so forth. And make sure you do the other side. Again, your horse, like Joker, is going to be better or worse on one side. So I always try and think, well, I've got to spend twice as much time on his bad side as I did on his good side.